And we're going to talk about two guys today that I think would both be deserving of that ninth pick if the Chiefs were to sit there and take it.
Would Ruben Bane even be there at number 9? For me right now, he's one of the top 2-3 players on my board. We've got to stop just looking at certain metrics or just trying to fill the Spags mold all the time. They did a little bit better job with Ashton Gillotte not doing that.
Caleb Downs from Ohio State, y'all. This guy is regarded as a generational safety prospect.
I love Caleb Downs. I think he may be my favorite player I've watched so far out of about 30, 35 players. He is insane. I've seen a lot of Eric Berry in that kid. And I remember we drafted Eric Berry pretty early too.
Let's talk about the NFL draft, baby. That's what everybody wants to talk about. The Chiefs are projected to have the ninth pick, right? I think that's where we're at.
Yep.
And a lot of people have been talking about who the Chiefs are going to take with that ninth pick. Mike, they could trade back to get more draft capital. They could have a guy in mind and sit there and take them. And we're going to talk about two guys today that I think would both be deserving of that ninth pick if the Chiefs were to sit there and take it. Let's start off with Ruben Bane Jr., Mike, the edge rusher out of Miami. He's powerful, baby. He's got that elite power, high motor, versatility, got great production in college. Everybody saw what he did in the college football playoffs and just fell in love with him. He was the big thing on Chiefs X and everything like that. The only thing that they want to say about him as far as his weaknesses goes is he's got tiny arms, reportedly under 31 inches. And Mike, how do you feel about Ruben Bane Jr.? Do you like him? Would you like him as a ninth pick overall in the draft? Because I do know that you're just like me. You think pass rush is a top priority. Would you be happy with a Bane Jr. draft?
Pass rush is a ultimate Chiefs top priority. I don't think running back is even in the same ballpark when it comes to pass rush, running back, whatever you say, I think it's there. Now, is it a thing to where you think you can get something at number 9? Would Ruben Bane even be there at number 9? Personally, I don't know if Ruben Bane would even last at number 9. It's really going to decide here if he can hold the top spot throughout the entire draft process. But for me right now, he's one of the top 2-3 players on my board that I've been able to get through. I've gotten through almost 25, 30 players now, and he's still right there at the top for me. I think in 2024, which was last year, he got to start 9 games, and he actually had a soft tissue calf injury in the season opener. That caused him to miss some time last year, caused 2024 to be a little bit off, in my opinion. But he picked it up pretty well in 2025. He played in 14 games. He had 8.5 sacks this year. He had 10 tackles for loss, 45 tackles, 24 solo. He even had a pick and a forced fumble. The interception was crazy. He trailed a tip pass off like a screen over to the right sideline, and he come up on it and picked it off. It was a very athletic play. There's a lot of things I really like about Ruben Bane Jr. And I think, again, we've talked about this a lot. We've got to stop just looking at certain metrics or just trying to fill the Spags mold all the time. They did a little bit better job with Ashton Gillotte not doing that. He was off of Spags mold just a little bit. This guy, in my opinion, fits the Spags mold more. Now, the thing about it is his short arm length, this and that, whatever, but he's built like an army tank. Like, the dude has the thickest lower legs you've ever seen. They're complete tree trunks. The dude is insane what he's able to do. He has got some of the best, most powerful hands. I like to say he's got Hulk hands. Like, to me, like, the way you see Hulk hands is the way I see this dude's hands, like, attacking offensive linemen. He prefers a bull rush and a quick swim move, but he's very shifty. He's got good explosiveness for his size. He's faster. He's faster than you think he's going to be. He can run down ball carriers. He can get to the edge. There is a lot to like about Ruben Bane Jr., in my opinion. And I think when it's all said and done, at the end of this draft process, a lot of people's going to just say, look, I don't care about the 31-inch arms. And I think they're going to take a shot on Ruben Bane Jr. I don't even know if this dude is going to last to pick number 9. If he gets to pick number 9, I would absolutely consider him.
Yeah, so with Ruben Bane Jr., Mike, I don't know if this is a compliment these days, but he does fit into Spagnuolo's scheme very well. And that's kind of a negative connotation in our fan base as far as defensive ends go. But he does. He's that heavy-handed guy, and it kind of reminds you of a Mike Dana or George Karlaftis, just like a higher tier of those. I think that he has a great motor, and that's what reminds me a little bit of George Karlaftis, and even guys like Ashton Gillotte. He often would get effort sacks where he's chasing guys guys down from behind.
Yeah.
He's also versatile. He can go inside and play on the inside. We know that Spags likes to move his guys around like that, so that's always a plus. And he had the production, man. He just did it in college. We saw him do it, and we see how good he can be. So sometimes you don't look at those physical limitations like the short arms and things like that, because he's a good, proven football player. If you see it enough, you believe it. You don't have to worry about how long a guy's arms are, right? The one thing that I see with Ruben Bane Jr. that I'm not particularly thrilled with, Mike, is he lacks any kind of elite bend that you would traditionally get from, say, the speed rushers or something like that. Ruben Bane Jr. likes to rely a lot on his strength. He's got that great power. He's got a good push-pull move. He's a bull rusher, like you said, and he can displace a lot of larger offensive tackles, but he doesn't have that bend. He doesn't have that speed that a lot of the kingdom wants to see in here on the edge. We haven't seen anything like that in so long, right? And sometimes with Ruben Bane Jr. too, when I watched his tape, he also gets a little bit overly aggressive at times, and he can miss some of those lanes, leave them open, things like that. And mobile quarterbacks can kind of give him a bit of an issue. But overall, I think if they were to take Ruben Bane Jr., like you said, if he stays being the top pass rusher in the draft, I think number 9 is sufficient. If number 9 is where the top pass rusher in the draft lands, I think you take him, and I think you're happy with that pick, right?
You said the main thing, and that is the Spags. It's the alignment versatility. Miami lined this guy up from a 3-tech to a 9-tech. He could play all the way up and down the line. I think that's a positive in Spags' system. And again, we don't think Spags is ultimately going anywhere. More than likely, he will be back. I do think that you said you don't have elite bend. It might not be elite. It's not going to be like those speed edge rushers you see. It's not going to mimic the Derek Thomases of the world. But I do think for his size, he's got enough bend. I think he's got a little more bend to him than George Karlaftis has at times, at least what I was able to watch. I think he's got a lot of good traits. I think people are kind of shitting on him, just to do it every once in a while because he's from Miami. They don't think it's going to be a thing. They think he's just too big, too slow. Like, I don't think he's going to be that elite, come get you every play. He's not your Micah Parsons. He's just not that guy. But to me, he's going to be a guy that's super strong. You know what you're going to get week in, week out. You're going to get a really tough dude that can set the edge. He can play the run pretty well. He is fast. For his size, he's got good bend for his size. I think his hand fighting is insanely strong. I think he's going to produce. That's what I think. I think you're getting a good producing football player. Now, some people might not like that. They want somebody that's going to be this 20-sack guy every year. I don't think that dude is in this draft. I don't even know if Ruben Bane Jr. could hit double-digit sacks per year, and that may throw people off. They may be like, look, why would you take a guy at number 9 that can't get to double digits?
It's a fair question.
Well, let me tell you something. Yvonne Thibodeau, he doesn't get to double-digit sacks very, easily either, in my opinion. I think if he's in a lot of different situations, there's just certain things about pass rushers, especially in Spags, is I don't think Spags is going to look for just a guy that can get to double-digit sacks. I don't think that's what he wants or needs. And I know a lot of people want to get off of that, but I'm still seeing this from a Spags standpoint because Spags is still the DC here. So I see for what Spags wants to do and how he likes to play, I think this guy fits. And I do think he could absolutely get to double-digit sacks per year. I'm just saying if there's one year that he doesn't get there, just like maybe George Karlaftis maybe a couple times, it may happen. It may happen. And that may prevent people from wanting him at number 9. And I would totally think that's understandable. I just think he's a good football player, and I think he's probably the best pound-for-pound defensive end in this draft right now from what I've seen.
Yeah, well, the name of the game is pass rush, baby, and I think he's going to put some pressure on quarterbacks. I think that he could definitely bring to the table what the Chiefs need, and that is pass rush. That's what we have to have. So I do like Ruben Bane. Mike, let's move on to another intriguing prospect here. I'm talking about safety Caleb Downs from Ohio State, y'all. This guy is regarded as a generational safety prospect. He's a defensive chess piece who can impact the game on all 3 levels, Mike. I'll give you the quick rundown of what I've seen so far with Caleb Downs, and then I want to get a good in-depth idea of what you're thinking about Caleb Downs, because I know you're a big fan of him, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. But right off the rip, Mike, I noticed in the tape that I got to watch so far, which is limited, I'll admit that I haven't got to dig too far into these guys, very, yet, but I'm working on it. And Caleb Downs, I did get to watch some of his tape, and it was exciting. The football IQ, it jumps out at you right off the rip, man. Elite pre-snap recognition, post-snap processing. This guy is boom, boom, boom on it. The tackling reliability is through the roof. Very low missed tackle rate. Positional versatility. He's logged significant snaps at deep safety and in the box as a linebacker hybrid, and even in the slot as a nickel corner, which when you think about what they did with Shamari Connor, Caleb Downs seems like a much better option than Shamari Connor. Am I right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, he has great coverage range, dude. He displays excellent closing speed, fluid in his hips, all the stuff that you want to see. Just some of the weaknesses that I've noticed, Mike. His size is a bit concerning. He's only 6'2", 205. So there's a lot of questions about how his physicality is going to hold up in the NFL against bigger tight ends or power run schemes and things like that. He didn't get a whole lot of man-to-man snaps in the tape I watched. A lot of what I saw was him being in the zone, which he was elite in the zone. I would like to see what he could do in man coverage on islands, especially if they were to decide to use him as a nickel corner or something of that nature. But yeah, man, I think that he's fantastic. I had a lot of fun watching his tape.
I love Caleb Downs. I think he may be my favorite player I've watched so far out of about 30, 35 players. He is insane. The football instinct is there. I even said that I seen a lot of Eric Berry in that kid. And I remember we drafted Eric Berry pretty early too. And a lot of people thought that was a little high for Eric Berry out of Tennessee. But look, Caleb Downs, he's got all the football instincts. His family is full of football players. His uncle was Dre Bly. He played for the St. Louis Rams back in the day. Okay. His brother is in the league right now. He played at North Carolina. He was a wide receiver. Josh Downs. He plays for the Colts right now. That's his brother. He's got ties to the NFL. He's a smart, instinctive kid. He started out in Alabama. It was insane. He was the first freshman to ever lead Alabama in tackles in program history. He won the first team All-SEC and Freshman of the Year his first year. And because Saban retired, he decided, hey, I want to leave Alabama. I'm going to Ohio State. He goes to Ohio State, which right now the Big Ten may be the best conference in football over the SEC. In 2024, he started 16 games as a unanimous first-team All-American. He was the first team all Big Ten. He had a 79-yard punt return back in 2024. So that means he's got special teams ability if you need it. He's just a flat-out stud. He's a flat-out stud. This year, he had 45 solo tackles, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, an 89.3 coverage grade, and he only allowed a 50.5 passer rating when targeted. Didn't allow a single TD. The dude is just a great athlete, very fluid in the hips. He's got insane closing burst. He's got great body control. He covers so much ground. It is insane. When he tackles you, it hits. Every tackle is like a highlight reel. It looks like a car crash out there. It's insane what he's able to do. He's a playmaker when the ball's in his hands. I already said he's got the punt return TD back in the day. He can return interceptions with ease. Like, there's just nothing about this kid that I disliked. Like, if I could nitpick one small thing, Steve, it would be the fact that sometimes in play action, he gets caught up and he don't know what he wants to do. He don't know if he wants to keep the eyes in the backfield or if he wants to go ahead and do what he's got to do on the back end. I think that's something that he's going to naturally, instinctually get better at over time. And honestly, if that's the only thing I can find here, I would love to take this kid. And a lot of people's going to be like, well, why would you do that? Well, Steve, we've already talked about it. This team looks bad. And all offseason long, we were talking about we needed safeties. And you may need corners now. We don't think Jalen Watson might come back this year. It's a possibility you trade out Trent McDuffie. We don't want Shamari Connor playing anymore. For some reason, Spags thinks that Jaden Hicks isn't good enough to play out there. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Brian Cooks. It's very possible you need a guy to come in and play. Now, again, number 9 might be a little early, but I don't think it is. For a football player like this, Eric Berry wasn't early, and I think he went earlier than number 9. Let me know in the chat. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he went like 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. So I like Caleb Downs. I think he's a hell of a football player. He's one of the best fundamentally sound football players I watched throughout every bit of this so far. I like him. I would be completely excited with him right there at number 9. Again, is he going to impact the offense? I don't know. And I think a lot of people want this offense to pick it up some more because I think they think the defense is heading in the right direction. The offense is where we're having more problems.
Right. Well, in the limited tape I've got to watch and the limited players I've got to evaluate, I will say that I feel like Caleb Downs is probably the closest to a can't miss pick that I've seen so far. I think the kid's going to be good. And that's no question. But you kind of touched on this a little bit, Mike, but I want to talk about that positional value because the Chiefs have shown in recent years, I know you mentioned Eric Berry, but in recent years, they've shown a lot of hesitancy to take a guy that might be like a safety or something like that very high in the draft. And now the Chiefs are drafting at a higher position than they've drafted in a damn decade. And are they going to use that on a safety? I don't know if they will. They've been showing that they like to try to get those value picks kind of in the middle of the draft or whatever. You mentioned Brian Cook. I think they took him at the end of the third round. They took Shamari Connor in the third, fourth round, something like that. Jaden Hicks, fourth round, which was a great value on him. But like they've kind of shown they're not really leaning safety early in a draft. Do you think that Caleb Downs is good enough to change that tune? Is he good enough and can be impactful enough on this team to garner a top 10 draft pick?
In my opinion, absolutely. This draft does not have very many can't miss projections. Caleb Downs may be it. Like there's maybe 3 or 4 guys I would really consider hardcore right here at pick number 4. And a lot of people wanted Jeremiah Love. Look, Mel Kiper Jr. just come out with his top 50 and Jeremiah Love was number 3. It's possible he may not even get to number 9 to even have a look at. We're seeing teams starting to take these guys a little earlier. Genty went in the top. You're starting to see guys like that getting picked earlier. So I don't know if he falls to me and Spags thinks he can use them and we think that we need that. Absolutely. Maybe we should start looking and doing things like drafting the Eric Berry style players, drafting good football players and not telling me, well, we can't have this guy because it's a little too early. We need to wait for the value pick over here. Like quit doing that shit because honestly, you got a good value pick with Jaden Hicks and you won't even use him. You got a good value pick with a lot of these guys, and you're not even playing them properly. We know we'll play first-round picks, so why not grab one of the best fundamentally sound first-round picks you can get and let them go on the football field? Maybe you found yourself an Ed Reed or somebody or an Eric Berry that can sit back there and man this defense for 10 straight years. Maybe you don't have many problems like this. Maybe he comes up and lays some people out in the run game. Maybe he helps the passing game. You can get Shamari Connor's butt on the sidelines a little bit more than he needs to be out there. He don't need to be playing the stuff he plays. So I like it. I like the pick. I think it's a good pick. A lot of people may not, but I actually like the pick, and I maybe even lean over, say, Jeremiah Love. I think running back's a little deeper that you could draft more second and third round, still find an impactful guy.
Very interesting. I'm not completely opposed to it. I want to know what you guys think. Get down in the comments and let us know what you think about Caleb Downs. And if you think a number 9 pick should be used on a safety potentially, or is that too rich for that position? You need to hit that like button for us to help us out. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 60,000 subscribers before this season kicks off next year. And we're well on the way, baby. We think we can do it. You guys get in the comments. Let us know how you feel about all of it, and we'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.